Welcome everyone to the first series of videos that I'm going to use to explain how GitHub works and how you can use GitHub to your advantage, especially in the context of software development. Today, I'm going to focus on three things. One, how we can create a repository, a process that you all should be familiar with by this point. Two, how we can invite collaborators to this repository. And then three, how we can create a Kanban board for our repository. Basically, these are going to be the initial setup steps for any project or major software tool or project that we are going to be developing as a team. Of course, GitHub is not the only context that we can find ourselves in. There are other things like GitLab or other version control tools. However, for this capstone project, we will be using GitHub. So before I get into these three steps, let me propose a thought experiment to you all. Let's say you have three developers, developer 1 who is in Turkey, developer 2 who is in the United States, and developer 3 who is in South Korea. How do you manage all these developers and make sure that the code that they're contributing all is contributing to the same exact specifications of our project? Well, this is where version control comes in. If you think about it, the process of integrating and merging and keeping track of code is actually just as hard as writing code itself. GitHub and Git, two completely different tools, are going to allow us to accomplish exactly this. We are going to be able to keep track of the progress of developers and also make sure that we are accepting only the best code and only functional code into our main production branch. As we go through all these videos, we will flesh this concept out more. For now, let's go ahead and start out with these three simple steps: creating a repo, inviting collaborators, and then creating a Kanban board. So to start off, you are all going to go to your GitHub profile, and you should be greeted with the following page. You should see some repositories that you starred to your portfolio, basically, or pins that pin to your portfolio. These are basically projects that you want to show off the most to any potential recruiter. You'll also see this beautiful collection of green squares. And the way this works is the more that you develop and the more your code is accepted, the lighter green squares, the more light green squares appear. You'll see some developers who have contributions every single day. Now, while we don't want to go too wild with this kind of contribution tracking, it is nice to kind of see the progress of all your work. Anyways, let's go ahead and get started. So let's first of all create a brand new repository. I'm going to click into repositories and then click on the green or blue button that states new. All right. Once we have this page pulled up, we are going to go ahead and give our repository a name. If you're naming your capstone project, I recommend naming it something short, snappy, and memorable. Try not to name it analysis of jobs or anything along those lines. Maybe brainstorm a creative repository name that basically just won't be in this cookie cutter format. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and name my repo test, just because this is a test after all. I'm going to leave the description blank. Actually, I'm going to type in something here. I'm going to type in a test repo showing how to create a repo. I'm going to leave this as public. We're also going to want to leave this as public as well. We're not interested in closing off our repositories just yet. At the moment, we want to be as open as possible, because after all, we are developing a public portfolio. It's always a good idea to initialize your repositories for README. It makes cloning a little bit easier, so I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to leave the gitignore template alone, and same with the license. And then let's go ahead and hit create a repository. So that's how we create a repository should be pretty cut and dry. We've seen this process before. Let's go ahead and get into some nuance, and let's invite some collaborators. So let's say, for example, I'm interested in inviting Mo to collaborate to this project. Well, I'm going to go ahead and go into settings. And then I'm going to go ahead and click on this on the left-hand side, the menu item that states collaborators. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some collaborators. I'm going to go ahead and click on add people. I'm going to type in Mo's GitHub handle, MJ Cologne 218. I'm going to go ahead and click on add. And now Mo should be getting an invite within his email that he will then access and accept, and then he will be able to push, pull, basically do anything that I'm able to do to this repository. So that's what the team lead is going to do for every single capstone project. You're going to invite every single member of your team to collaborate to this project. And that is how you are all going to be able to work on the same code. So we've gone through the process of creating a repo and inviting collaborators. Let's go ahead and talk about creating a Kanban board. Now, keep in mind, a Kanban board is basically just a visualization of the tasks that you have to complete, the tasks that are in progress, and also tasks that are complete already. Let me show you all exactly what I mean. So first, we're going to go ahead and click into projects. Now, one thing I want to point out is that if you don't want to use GitHub for your Kanban board, if you want to use something like Jira or another software project management tool, please feel free to do so. But if you want to keep it simple, just go ahead and use the GitHub Kanban board. I'm going to go ahead and create a brand new project. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and hit this drop-down menu, click New Project, and then click on New Project. From there, I'm going to go ahead and title this Test Kanban Board. And now, from there, you should see a list of tasks that you can move around. However, we don't want this view. Instead, we're going to go ahead and click on the drop-down menu and click on Board. And as you can see, we have 3 initial sections created for us. We have To Do, In Progress, and Done. I'm going to go ahead and create one more section called Testing. I recommend that you do this as well. We're just going to drag this right before Done. The format of your Kanban boards actually does matter, because if you think about this from a left to right format, you start with To Do, you move to In Progress, and then after something is done, you're going to place it in Testing. And then whoever your tester is going to make sure that everything is working well. And then from there, if the tester approves it, great, they're going to place it into Done. However, if the tester denies it, guess what? It goes back into Progress. Anyways, that's how we create our Kanban board. In the next videos, I'm going to talk about pull requests and code reviews. And then after that, maybe we'll explore some nuanced features of GitHub. See you all in the next video.